What's up, guys? Hope everybody had a great weekend. We're just quickly going to go through our weekly Forex forecast for the 15th to the 20th of September and to show you guys what I'm looking at in the zones I currently have. So if we go up to the weekly, we can see that we are still currently in a downtrend, but in a weekly demand zone that's already been triggered once. The probability of the demand zone still holding is still highly likely because we are in a 6-month demand zone as well. So we could possibly see a push on the dollar up. We have a supply at 102.847 that we can look for sells because we are still bearish on the dollar. On the daily, we can have a look. We are still bearish. We are between two zones, so I wouldn't be trading anything here currently. I'd be waiting for either a high push before a supply and then maybe a retracement to that demand. Up until now, I would say just wait a bit for the dollar and let it play out how it would. On the 4 hour, we have a little bit more how can I say momentum or things that we can look at. So if we have a break below this low, we can look for any strong sell for a supply formed to retest and sell off down to the bottom of this demand. On the 1 hour, on the 1 hour we are still, there's nothing much I can say about the dollar more. If we are looking at Euro USD on the weekly time frame, we currently are in an uptrend. We have a demand down at 109.668. Waiting for that to come would be highly unlikely. So I would say for the euro, we would be going to the lower time frames. On the daily, we are currently sitting in a supply zone that's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Fifth time, it's still pushing in. So it could still hold, but any move, maybe like apologies, any move that we could see possibly breaking this demand zone right here, we could you keep going, we could see this demand zone be taken out, a fresh push, whatever push comes from that, the new demand comes into play, the counter, and then you can continue to buy. So that would be on the daily. Obviously the daily, we're waiting for that supply to be broken or to continue holding. We shall see what we get with that. On the 4 hour, the 4 hour is a little bit cleaner, so we got a demand down at 1.15994, hoping that would be the zone for us with some liquidity right below this. I'm hoping to see some sort of move down and then some clear movement here to show that there's some support, that there's some stop losses below to trigger us in the demand zone and go the way we want it. So I'll be monitoring that on the 4 hour. For the people that are trading intraday on the 1 hour, there are some other zones. We caught some. This was a sell. We caught from a 4 hour demand, from a 4 hour supply. This is a 1 hour buy. We caught on a 1 hour demand. Now with the euro, I don't really have much on it to say unless we're going to be pushing down. What I can say also though is if we do on the 1 hour find ourselves pushing up and taking out these supply zones, any move from there will create a good demand zone to pull back, buy from. So that's what I would be looking for. Okay, so that's on the euro on the 1 hour. I will now have a look at GBP USD. Let's go to the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, we are still waiting for a demand to be triggered. Nothing much going on there. Alright. On the daily we are currently sitting at another supply. I won't say the supply is the best. It's already been tested several times. I've seen zones been tested 20 times and then pushed down. A zone that tested twice and breaks up. But again, with the same concept, anything we could expect if this is taken out, we would expect a big move up to create a good new demand to continue buying from there. Otherwise, what we would be expecting would be a sell down and back up. So currently we'll have to watch the trends also on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. This is on the daily, so on the 4 hour we'll have to have a look there and see what we can see. So on the 4 hour, I'm seeing a demand at 1.34702. This seems like a good demand for me. I don't have a problem with it. Got a good push from that. So there is liquidity laying below the lows here. So it could be a good trade for a 1 to 3, or possibly a 1 to 2 if you need to get aggressive trade management. On the 1 hour, there are some more possibilities. There is a 1 hour demand. I'm currently looking at a 15-minute sell back into the main demand that we're looking for. I would say stop loss of a year like that. Fantastic. There we go. So those would be the positions I would be looking at on the 1 hour. I'm not gonna rush after the markets. I'm gonna trade with it, and currently on the 1 hour we are still in a uptrend on the GBP USD. Alright, on to the next. For odd USD, we go to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, there is a demand at 0.66097. Whether it's going to be triggered anytime soon, I do not know. We would say rather going to the 4 hour, and the 4 hour is where we have the double demand on top of each other. I'm not really liking the basing of this move, but it is a demand zone, whether I like to say or not. So if you're looking for buys, since we are above the trend line, as long as we stay above the trend line, any 5 to 15 minute longs, you should be good. Yeah, that's what I see on the 4 hour for odd USD. On the 1 hour for odd USD, obviously I'm still seeing that 1 hour demand. There is a lower demand here by 0.65472. So if this demand fails, don't get angry. Just play the risk to reward, and then play the next demand and wait for that one, and you continue doing that. It's all about risk management and risk to reward, if you ask me personally. So I always make sure that whatever I'm doing, I take all the trades on all my zones. It's a mechanical entry system. Obviously there are better zones that I would look at certain times, but on the intradays I take my demand zones and I play the risk to reward ratio. Never would less than a 1 to 2. Anyway, on to the next. NZD USD. On the daily time frame, we are currently in the middle of shambles. The next supply closest to us is at 0.61734 and 0.61250. Next demand closest to us is 0.55729. Let's hope we can see anything from here. We have broken a trend from here, so we'll see maybe on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, I'm seeing, this is on the 15-minute zone, so this would be a likelihood. This is the 4 hour. It has tapped the 4 hour supply already. We have gotten some bearish push off of it. We haven't broken any structure as of yet, but going on the lower time frames, it is a bit more easier to see as a 1 hour demand, a refined demand from there. This is the entry that I'm looking at for the NZD USD. It's a 15-minute time frame supply created. So I'm going to take the 15-minute risk to reward and play it to the nearest 1 hour demand that I can see, where I believe we should get some movements off as well. So that's what I see for NZD USD. Alright, cool. So we're going to go to USD JPY. I'm not really I'm not going to say much about this. There's nothing much to say about this. We are in a sideways market. I do not trade this. If you want to be risk aversive and you feel like you have to take a trade, this is me. I'll wait for my trades in anyway. But if you really feel like you have to take a trade, then I would suggest waiting for either a breakout above here or breakout below here. This would be a range. You can enter either buy or sell, but you're gonna be swept out by it's liquidity traps here. So I would suggest waiting for maybe like a push from here up, back down. That's what I would suggest. I would rather wait on the daily. So on the daily, you're going to obviously have some long time, but on the 4 hour, you might find a bit more refined entries. So like this one right here, we have a supply zone here up at 148.558. We just removed the demand. We which could have been played properly, but I'll put my stop loss right close to the demand, because if the demand or the supply fails, then I do not want to be in the trade. So I'll be looking for sells on the USD JPY. I'd be careful on that on the 4 hour though. You never know what happens on the 1 hour. Like I just explained to you, the highs and the lows. Wait for one of them to break and then create a new supply or demand area and push from there. What I do like about this zone is this top could be counted as liquidity to fuel the move for this to come back down again. You understand what I'm saying? Apologies, I wasn't meant to go that far off of the, but you know what I'm saying, like sweep and then come back down and sweep this low right there. That's what I would be waiting for on the USD JPY on the 1 hour. Alright, on to the next is USD CAD. USD CAD on the daily, we can see there's not really much going on. There is a demand down at 136854. But that would not be a daily demand, so it should not be in the daily section. Let me just remove it from weeks, months and days. Alright, so looking at a daily demand, I would call this a very good daily demand zone. We just change it so that we don't see it on the weeks, the months and the minutes. Alright, fantastic. Okay, so we do have a daily demand down low, which means we are pushing up higher. We are still in the bulls. Supply zones, I don't really see many of them. The one I did see has already been taken out. I can see one here. It's a rally based rally, drop based drop. Anyway, I'm not going to use that zone. Anyway, let's continue on to the next. So it's going to be the 4 hour. Onto the 4 hour, we can see there is a supply zone up there. I'm liking the supply zone. There is some liquidity. There is a 1 hour supply if you look at this right here. But what I would be concerned about with this 1 hour, you could possibly get a good 1 to 1, 1 to 2 just to reward a quick trade. It could even go from here all the way down and just fall on its flat on its face. But what I would be looking at is on the 4 hour, this could be a liquidity move. So the problem with a liquidity move will be you got to anticipate and expect that. You know what I'm saying? So if you go look on the 1 hour, you'll see that on the 1 hour, there is a supply zone here currently. I have set a limit for the top. I would rather wait and have a better entry than try and jump in because I'm FOMOing into the markets. So that would be my hour on the USD CAD. USD CHF, I'm not even gonna lie, currently I don't think I have any bias on it. It's bearish, but there's no targeting areas for demands at the moment. So I'll go look on the 4 hour. Maybe there on the 4 hour we had a demand that was tapped. It's been tapped 1, 2, this is the 3rd time, so the likelihood of it failing is very high. We could see a push up all the way to the next supply at 0.80334. Hopefully after that we would see some bearish movement again, looking for that move to break this. Once this is broken, the new supply that is created we can sell off from. Obviously we have to watch all of the time frames and see what's going to be best. So currently over here we also do have a 1 hour supply, but I'm gonna rather call this another liquidity trap. I would rather see some sort of move breaking this, sweeping these highs, entering the supply above, and then a sell-off. That would be my ideal. So technically, if I would have to put this in like the format, it would be like this. There we go. See, just like that. Fantastic. That is what I would be looking at, guys. Onto gold. This is going to be the last pair I do for now. If there's any other pairs you guys would want me to do also, just let me know. And if I sound a little crusty, please bear with me, guys. I'm still getting used to all of the video editing and video making, so just bear with me as we go. We will get better. also getting my structure a bit better on how I'm gonna bring these things forward to you guys. So on the daily with gold, I mean, is there really much to be said? There's so many demand zones down below that hasn't been triggered yet. I don't see gold coming down to them anytime soon, like right now. So what I would say is, let me just move this one because this one is gonna disturb me. Need to be on the 1 hour. Okay, fantastic. All right, this one needs to be solid line. Fantastic. All right, so there are so there are a couple of demand zones looking at 3558 and also 3488. Like I said, you could find that it pushes down to this one and flies, or it breaks straight through this one, then you just buy at the next demand. There's so many. I mean, it's really your choice. You can buy stop loss, just buy the demand, stop loss, just buy the demand. And usually what I do, what I would tell people, the easiest that I can get for you is usually a 2 to 2.5%. You don't need, you can get these big moves, of course, but 2.5% usually would suffice. But obviously, if you are bullish long term on gold, you wouldn't be targeting low. You would still be targeting as high as possible. You know what I'm saying? So maybe something like 3,750 or 3,700, and and then obviously the lower you go, the better your risk to reward gets. So for example, let's say I enter, gold pushes all the way down to this demand, and I enter, and I hold this thing until it reaches to 700. I go from a 1 to 7 to a 1 to 9 to a 1 to 14, almost 1 to 15. So guys, this is the mechanical strategy of supply and demand with 1 to 2 risk to reward, as well as entry on each demand. So if you're on a 4 hour, this would be the 4 hour entries. If you're on a 1 hour, they might look different. So if you go into the 1 hour, you might find other demands. But using those 4 hours, this is what you would usually go for. Because if you are bullish on a pair and it's pressing down, you can still fight against it. It's not to say that it's always going to be pushing down, and we know with gold how it's been going. There's been several zones. Also, what I can say is on the 1 hour, guys, just a quick heads up for if anybody wants to see this. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just a very good move from there for me. If you look at the supply zone created with a nice liquidity trap on top, so you could even, if you feel like you're short on gold short term, you can even enter shorts here with your stop loss above the supply zone, targeting the first demand. So I mean, guys, it's all up to you. It's all up to preference, depending on how aggressive you want to take it. I like swing trading, and sometimes I do on the hourly, but most of my zones are usually valid on the 4 hours. So I'm just going to remove all of these for now quickly, and then we're going to go to the 4 hour, because I usually enter with 4 hours. So if we go into like Euro USD, you'll see the 4 hour has one entry, where the 1 hour has also one left. GBP USD 1 hour has 2 entries and the 4 hour has 1. So on my chain analysis, all of this goes, and I set it up in a way that you can choose the aggressiveness that you want. Obviously, certain ones are going to be working and certain ones not, but that'll all be dependent on yourself. You got to choose, do you want to be an intraday and do the 1 hour, or do you want to do the 4 hour? Do you want to do the daily? Some people like trading the daily. It's you just got to keep up with the trend and make sure that you know what's happening the whole time. Other than that, I would say, just keep focused, guys. Stay with what you're doing. Do not jump around on strategies and trying to find the best of this and the best of that, and this week this works, and then if it doesn't, you jump to the next. Stick to one thing. It may not be supply and demand, it may not be support and resistance, trend line breakouts. Everybody has their own way, and not one strategy is wrong. But all I want to say to you guys is, if you're going to do things like this, just rather pick a strategy, stick to that strategy, keep a mechanical risk to reward, a mechanical entry model For the more aggressive people, you can put buy limits. Obviously, for the less aggressive people, all you'll be doing is you'll be waiting for the confirmation buys. Obviously, for any market that we talk about, what a confirmation buys, the market would push down into the zone, create a little bump, break that bump with a new demand created on a 5 minute, which means you can now have an even smaller stop loss with a bigger risk to reward. With that, you're going to enter and push to the top side, and that's what you guys are beginning looking for. So we'll see how this week goes, and demand zones that are broken, any demand zone that is broken, can look for supply zones that are built to sell off into the next demand zone. I would not sell within a demand zone, but I would sell once a demand zone has been broken. So I hope this helps you guys. I'll be back with you guys next week on the next weekly forecast, and also I'll be doing some live trading within the week as I get chances. I'll also be trying to post some ideas and setups that I'll be looking throughout the week on my Discord. The link is in the description of my in the bio of my channel. Just go and have a look there, and then hope to have a great week, guys. Enjoy and be safe. Cheers.